Jim Robinson here with Service Evolution. We got a lot to talk about today. We have Lori Prust with SOAR Coaching. She is a powerhouse, and she's going to show you and talk about how to transition from that corporate world into this other space of coaching. She is going to teach you to recognize transformation and how to get there, not only for yourself, but for your team. What does it look like? How do you know? What is that gut feeling that you've been transformed for yourself? And you're using tools to do that. She's going to give you the tools. She's going to explain the transformative process. She's going to help you show up and win bigger than you're winning today. You're winning. That's when you tuned in. She's going to help you get to that other level. Let's go. Today is the day. Transformation. All right, Jim Robinson here with Lori Prust. We're talking about SOAR coaching. This is an exciting day. Our listeners get to hear about this local coaching group. It's called SOAR. They're out of Harrison, Chattanooga region, and they reach farther than that. They got a global reach, people. You've got to tune into this. Lori Prust, she's about to give you some value bombs. She's going to drop this thing on you. I guarantee you, before we're done, you're going to be logging in to get to her website because it's a need you know you have. That's why you're listening today. You're going to want to jump into this thing. She's a powerhouse. She's teaching teams how to become better leaders, how leaders can support their team in an individualistic way and in a team way so teams can win. She's a powerhouse. You're going to want to hear this. Here we go. Program overview. We need to talk about this. We need our listeners to hear what this is going to sound like, look like, feel like. So coaching programs, what are you offering from SOAR today, Lori? What does that look like?
Thanks, Jim. And first, I'm blushing from that intro. Glad to be here today. Like, okay, that was so nice. That was lovely. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to be here.
Awesome. Tell them about your programs. What does it look like from coaching standpoint? What does that look like? How do you get involved with you?
Absolutely. So we first and foremost care about the person as an individual. And we really believe that everything starts with self-awareness, self-discovery. When you understand yourself, everything becomes a little bit easier. So many people today want good relationships. I want to be a manager. I want to have a great team. I want to be a leader. I want a great marriage. But a lot of people aren't willing to stop and look inside and say, what are my core motivations? What am I afraid of? What do I really love? What really do I not enjoy? And I think once you start doing some of that, everything becomes easier. So with SOAR, we like to go from the inside out and things, like I said, just become easier. And we've worked a bit with individuals and groups. And we have a program that was, again, more so on the personal side. We're pivoting a bit more so on the business side. And I'll share more about that. But the program really is taking a look inside, like I said, and then creating kind of an intentional transformation plan once you know about yourself. So what we've done in one of our programs is you reflect in terms of retrospecting and introspecting, looking at your past, looking at some of the things that have happened to you, and looking for themes and trends of things that brought you joy, things that were hard for you. When they brought you joy, what about that was a highlight for you? For example, when I did this exercise, what came up for me and my greatest memories were my relationships. No trophies, no salary gain, and none of that is wrong. Just told me about myself that Lori, you really enjoy relationships. Make a note as a foundation. Where do I want that to be in my life in the future? Second, and kind of the hard side of things is what was hard for me? What did I need? What made it hard? Who did I need? Also a building block for your future. So we kind of set out, again, on the personal side of learn first about those memories and things that you treasured and that were hard so that you set yourself up really well for the future. Then continuing on your journey, your personal journey, we look at the Enneagram. So we do use that as a framework, one of our tools, not the tool, that talks about your personality and really helps you understand what motivates you to think and behave like you do. And it's amazing how much is going on in our unconscious mind that we don't even realize that drives our words, behaviors, things that you just keep operating in because you always have. You don't intentionally stop and live for today. So we dig into the Enneagram, help you understand your motives, and just become aware so that you can make some changes. Again, you don't want to stay in that box. So the idea is learn about it so that you do something different. You grow, you become more open, or whatever your needs might be. We explore the Enneagram in a little bit of depth. It's a decent, can be a complex framework. So we spend 3 sessions going through that, actually. So we learn how your personality looks a little bit different. So there's 9 personality types. However, there's variations of ways that we call them differentiators, where your personality looks a little bit different, but
Wow.
your core is your core. Your core foundation of motivations is yours. We talk about your personality and health and stress. So when you are stressed, your characteristics start to show up in a certain way. So we teach people how to understand what those stressors are, see them, acknowledge them, say, I see you, I feel the emotion, and now what do I do about it to get to a healthy state, again, in my own personality?
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been really powerful, the conversations that have come out of, even for myself, of what stresses me and how do I act when that comes up. And
Yeah.
Jim, you'll laugh at this. You know what I become when I get real stressed? I'm an Enneagram 2, which is the helper. When I get really stressed, I become an angry Tony Prust, which is my husband. So on his unhealthy personality side,
Bless his heart. He's not even here to defend himself.
no, when he's unhealthy, I sound like him. I'm very short. I'm very direct when he's not in a healthy state.
Yeah.
And so he said to me recently, he's like, I didn't marry another me. Like, where's the healthy 2? Come
Yeah.
back.
What's going on there?
Yeah. So
Wow. So using that, so you said there's 9 levels basically on that Enneagram. So let's get your target audience. How do you define what would be your target audience? How about some guy like me? Maybe I got all 9 of those characteristics. What's going on with me? How are you going to help me?
yeah, you probably will have 9, to be very honest. But I think the awareness is, so it's got to be somebody that's willing to say, hey, there's something here. There's something I want to explore. I'd like something different. I want to know more about myself. Without that desire, it's not going to work right now. You need to be at a place where you're ready to say, I'd like to really discover myself, unpack some of the things so that so that's so important to me. I always say it. There's something better for me, more fulfilling, more joy, more confidence on the other side. So it's got to be people. And I would say if you're thinking of the business realm, if you want to be a leader, a manager, you should know yourself first so that you have capacity to see other people. When you're struggling in your own strife and friction and stress,
Yeah.
you have no capacity to lead and love and guide anybody else, I believe.
Yeah.
You're worried about your own junk that's going on. And so I would say for any person as an individual that wants something different and better, start with you. We'll help.
Yeah.
Like SOAR can help you. And then let's go after the dream and thing that you really want. Where is
Yeah.
that? What does
Wow.
it look like?
So I got to throw a bomb in here, but years ago when I started business a long time ago, there was no Enneagram. There was no practice. We had the DISC. And of course I became the coach in that. But when I was getting my degree in IO psychology, so industrial and occupational or operational psychology I wanted to figure out why did people behave a certain way they wanted to behave in business. And some of the gifts I learned way back when is that just a tidbit of how we discover what our character is, because there was no Enneagram. So we had to figure this out in a different way. And one of the things we always said was, name a teacher that impacted you. And this is for our listeners today, but name a teacher that impacted you. And everyone instantly can give you the name of the teacher. I was doing this coaching just this week. And I said, give me the name of a teacher. And it was 5th grade. Mr. Dibbs was the name that was referenced. Mr. Dibbs, hopefully you're listening because this is a powerful minute.
Mm.
This guy that I was coaching, got about 90 days with him, but he says, Mr. Dibbs. And I said, what about it was Mr. Dibbs that impacted you? Instantaneously, we can all come up with these answers. Mr. Dibbs was the smiling, happy, wanted to make sure people had a great day kind of guy. And I said, this guy that I'm coaching is literally that guy through and through. He literally is the smiley guy. He shows up. He wants to make sure everybody's having a good day through his power of impact and what he means. And I said, do you think that's a part of you? And it was such a moment that the light went off saying, whoa, that is one of my virtues is this Mr. Dibbs because of that impact. And so I know as a coach, we have those opportunities to make them impacts. And so that target audience for you is anybody on a spectrum of Enneagram today, DISC, or any other thing. That target audience, as you just expressed, was really somebody that you can serve to help them transition to their next level, build their team, care about their team, express those concerns, have compassion for those people. Any of those people are people that is your target audience, and you're going to be able to serve them really well. On that Enneagram, touch on that just a tad bit more. What is Enneagram? What does that actually mean, and how do you use that as a tool to serve your clients?
Wow, that's a great question, Jim. So I think it's evolved over a long period of time. And so where it came to be more popular, at least I heard about it in 2018, it's a personality framework, which is different than DISC. I think DISC is more centered around how you work best. And you might describe it maybe a little differently, where the Enneagram's a personality tool or framework that just talks about, like I said, motivation. What motivates you to do what you do and to think how you think? And so there are 9 types, and everybody falls into a core type. But again, there are differentiators that make you unique to you. Characteristics of, you said earlier, I might have all 9 types. You probably do. Some of that will show up in, like I can come out as, I talked about Tony as the challenger, and I can be assertive in health and really drive hard some decisions, but I have to intentionally work on that characteristic because my tendency as a helper is to be dependent. I'm in the dependent type. So I will let someone else lead first. So I have to grow in some of those things. So how that helps, Jim, to your question, in business is many ways, in my opinion. You can see the kind of leader you're going to naturally lean into since your behaviors and motivations have been there since they say about since you're 5 years old. You've established your personality. And I think when you become aware of that, you have strengths. Every personality type has strengths. Know what those are, but then also know what your weaknesses are. So when someone's saying, wants to be a leader, learn about yourself, the tendencies and natural strengths and the areas you've got to work on, where, say, our Enneagram 5 is the investigator. So the Enneagram 5 is somebody that wants all the knowledge they can get. So they're competent because their fear is that they're not. However, where that shows up in a kind of a not great way in leadership is you may not show up instinctively in your body, make a decision, the team needs me now. You're going to delay to go read a book, look on YouTube, get another article. Truly. And so if you...
Come on, nobody does that. What? Come on.
So if you're aware, you get to grow those skills of instinct that says, I need to lean into I might not know all this. However, I've got to make a business decision for my team. So that's how it shows up there for your team and hiring. That's a whole other thing where if you, so like say our Enneagram 6 is the loyalist, is somebody that can see all the different risks and issues you may have. You might see this person as, oh my gosh, you're bringing up another problem. However, look at it differently because that person can help you get into a big rut potentially in your business. The growth for that person is to say, maybe curb some of the questions or risks. They're maybe not all equal. So you have to learn what's going to add value versus just talking to share every risk you could possibly see. So you probably want a 6 on your team. You know what? They're going to help you avoid a major pitfall in your business.
The integration of Enneagram, then I'm assuming they're going to take a written test. They're going to answer some questions. You're going to go on a discovery, and you're going to add clarity as to where they line up on this Enneagram.
You said it. So there's an assessment we use. It's about 144 questions. So it sounds a bit daunting. However, it's very thorough. The assessment that you get, it's about 40 minutes. And you're so right, Jim. A lot of people think they're self-aware, but they may not be. And at the point of their awareness is how they fill out an assessment. So the goal for us is to start with that, sit together, and then I just can ask some questions about really understanding someone's core motivation and who they are. It might take a couple of sessions, but when you get that, the growth starts. So it starts with this assessment. Then we just walk through a series of questions. And again, it's got to be somebody that's honest, willing to grow, ready. then we can do this. And then you can grow into a healthy version of yourself.
Some smart people figured out a way to quiz us so we know how we work best, how we respond best. And you're using these tools.
Yes.
For us, we use, which is how Enneagram and DISC and all these other things, was Maslow's theory and Freud's theory from the 30s and 40s. And later on, it was Dr. Claire Graves out of Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 70s and 80s. The discovery is that they figured out what our human needs are and why we do certain things. It's always to meet our human need. And so the discovery of this using Enneagram today is a powerful, powerful tool without having to go study Maslow's theory and Freud's theory, which will bore you to death. You'll get good sleep if you read that, but it's powerful study, and that's really where I get my studies from. Was a long time ago, not in the 30s, for the love of God, but a long time ago. Program structure. So, what does that look like for somebody saying, "I got to have Lori Prust"? She's gonna freaking put me over the edge. She's gonna make me a better person, a better leader. What does that program structure look like? What are they looking at? What's the typical structure for them? How long are they going to sign up with you? How long do they need you? I always say if you need me, you probably don't want me. And if you want me, it's because you no longer need me. And so it's how does that work for you? What's the typical structure? How long are they going to be with you?
This is not probably the best amazing answer in the way of it can be what's needed, Jim, but I would say at the minimum to go through the steps of introspection, retrospection, your personality type, values, and intentions, I would say at least 6 weeks, which is probably even just kind of cramming some things in for us. We need the time. If we could spend 12 weeks together to get you from end to end, that's probably ideal. But I would love to know, I think where I start is, where do you see this going? What outcomes do you need and want? Where are we going?
Yeah.
And then I can structure the program a bit based on the tools and framework that we have. So we also have emotional intelligence, EQI 2.0, that will help in the way of regulating your emotions where you have stress and how to manage your stress. So we can figure out the tools that are best for the desired outcome you're looking for.
Wow. That's a powerful fluctuation in coaching. For those listening today, they're going to basically structure it the way you need. And I assume this is a weekly coaching session. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. So weekly coaching. Lori's going to structure this for you folks that are ready to go on this. Log into their website, get to this. You got to start it today. You can't wait till Friday. Friday's too late. You got to go today. This is a powerful opportunity. You're going to have to get onto that website. She's going to help you structure this through your discovery and those discussions with you. You're going to have a powerful discovery just in that conversation. And then you're going to discover next steps. And she's going to give you a timeline. So you're crystal clear on what your next steps are going to be. That's a powerful thing today. Wow, what a gift. This is crazy. Client transformation. Let's go there, man. They need to hear this. How do they define that transformative area? What is coaching, and when do they feel like, whoa, here's the real authentic me? And how did you bring that out? How do you do that? When do they discover that? What does that look like?
I would say it's a journey. It's a journey of step one. Again, like we talked about, something different. The transformation is saying, I feel a friction. I'm just not satisfied. Something is off. So it's taking time to recognize that. And that's your step one for anybody, is I want different. Then as you start to do the self-discovery, self-awareness, digging in, then we start to unpack, like I said, about your personality. But the real gold is, when are you getting stressed? What triggers a stress for you? And then how do you show up when that happens? Do you go into depression? Do you take it out on your loved ones? Do you hide away and no one can find you and you go in your mind? So as you start to unpack reality of your life, then you have the awareness, you do something different. You learn new habits, you learn new things, new techniques, new tips, new tricks. So you don't stay in that friction. And I have an example of a client I worked with who was also a 2. She was in an environment at a hospital where the helper, our fear is that we're going to be unwanted and unloved. And it shows up all the time if you start to be more conscious and present in how you're feeling. And so she was also a 2. And so this fear would show up at work, where she would work nonstop in the hope that somebody would say, her boss would say, I see you. You're doing great. Wow, you're really making a difference. And the boss wasn't capable. So I think that's part of the learning is the boss wasn't capable to do that for her. And she kept striving and striving and exhausted and exhausted. And then we met, we unpacked her personality, we unpacked what was happening, we unpacked her stress. And I just saw her last month and she said, I decided after I learned about myself and what was happening there, what I needed, I quit that job. I have an amazing job. I got something better and I had the awareness to go do different because I stopped. That's her transformation. She is happy right now. She's
Yeah.
treated well. I'm getting what I need. I realized what I was seeking. This lady couldn't give me. She wasn't able to give that to me. So then how do you carry forward when we expect things from other people that they just cannot give us? That's a whole
That
other
we can't
episode. I just started going down a whole other episode of like, what do you do?
Yeah, we could go deep on this conversation. Those people listening today that just told themselves they're not stressed, because you spent some time talking about stressors and then the impact of those stressors. We got some people listening today that just said, geez, I don't have any stress. I don't really need coaching. How do we get them to discover their own truth? How do we get them to really discover that there's a stress there? We can two-step with stress. We can dance with stress. We can use it to service if we have a good discipline about that. But the discovery of that stress is first taking ownership of it. So we just had some people that are just ready to click on the button and get to SOAR because they now discovered they actually are stressed. Mm-hmm. And you're about to help them get over that. You're going to help them discover that, how to use it versus let it cripple them or slow them. You're going to teach them how to use stress to be a driver for that. Let's go back to the faith-based thing just for a minute here. We want to touch on this. What ways is your faith influencing coaching? How do you use that? Is that a meditation, a prayer? What is that for you? How do you use the faith-based side to influence the coaching in the methods and in the programs of SOAR? How do you use that?
Such a good question. I think in different ways for me, it shows up in my character as who I am. I'm going to show up always with some principles and beliefs as a Christian. However, I also respect the person that's in front of me and what they're looking for. And if they're open to talking through any faith-based coaching, that is great. If they're not open to that at the time, I also honor and respect where they are at that point. I think that is fine. I do want to say, when I work with an individual, I believe that we are made in the image of Christ. I believe that we are each unique. I really do. We have a unique identity, unique strengths, gifts, and talents. So that is like what a gift that we were purposely created for today, for a perfect time as who you are. There's no one like you. I think when you sit in that and believe that, that's just where I start, is like just acknowledging and being so grateful for the love and the worthiness that I've just been given as God's daughter. That's what starts for me in my heart. And then we also give back a lot. Like I told you earlier, like we just love to serve in the area. And so mentoring, work with a couple organizations out here that really help their women and children unite, get healthy, break some really bad habits, addictions, and then get back up there and lead healthy lives, learn about budgeting, learn about themselves, they do Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace. I've helped create an emotional intelligence course for them to take. That we do bring in some of the faith-based pieces there. I'm creating a course right now on what does self-worth mean? And it's for women. And so I'm going to be teaching that coming in the new year. So that's a part of SOAR that gives back. And there is a bit of that is very faith-based.
Wow. Powerful. I can tell you that when you lead in a faith-based organization, people tend to gravitate. And the ones that are not of the equal values, equal virtue in belief systems, they don't need to show up because there's usually going to be a misalignment. And that may sound harsh today, but I can tell that our listeners are going to be a faith-based generation. Those folks that are of beliefs and of faith, it's highly likely that they're going to gravitate to you, Lori, and SOAR. And because they want to, faith is being shut out, as you know, in the world, and the lack of leadership in the U.S., as the U.S. goes, so goes the world. And so we're really, today is election. We have a different trajectory again. And so let's see what faith does, but let's never put it to the side. Let's use it. Let's drive these results. Let's get people that are of like-mindedness to gravitate so we can all win together, so we can serve those that may not be of faith-based. But let's coach. Let's coach them up. Let's spend time. Let's spend a lot of time coaching and serving others. So those that are listening, you're going to want to hear these next steps. Lori's about to tell you what's coming next. She's got some powerhouse things that's coming through the pipeline. She's been working on some new opportunities. She's about to give you some value bombs. You're going to have to click like ASAP, or you're going to have a bad afternoon. I can tell you right now, you're going to be like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I sign up? Don't have that question. Don't ask yourself why. Just say, thank you. Good job. You did it. You connected. So Lori, give us some of those developments that are coming. What does that look like for SOAR and you in that coaching space? What does that look like? What's coming next?
Yes. Thanks, Jim, so much. Pivoting. So there's the personal side of self-awareness and self-discovery that we have been doing and really digging into. We're pivoting into more of the business side to grow new leaders and managers from a servant heart and mind leadership standpoint. So it's new leaders and managers. It is another area that I'm starting to explore, which I'm loving, is business partnership compatibility based on your personality, your motivations, and your desires. And then also forming teams and helping teams thrive in their own culture, self-organize, learn about each other, respect each other, so that you can deliver results effectively. So that I'm pivoting a lot to the business side, but never losing sight of the individuals under everything that we do, ever. Like each individual is so important. Yeah. So even when we work with teams, Jim, I want to make sure that there's time with each individual to understand them one-on-one, who they are, how they show up. And then when you bring the team together, we've had a great discussion. They have their core type, their core understanding, and then we bring that together in understanding and respect for each other. So I think that is where we're leading into more and more, is just helping teams thrive, help leaders thrive and grow to see other people, serve other people. That's my heart.
All right.
We're pivoting.
All right, people. You've heard it here. She's here to serve teams, and she's here to serve the leaders that serve those teams. She's working her tail off to make sure she's in her best so she can be the best for you. You've got to sign up with Lori. I'm telling you right now. She's 4'0". You can't tell on this picture right here. She's 4'0", maybe 5 feet.
No,
I'm telling you,
that. No.
She's like a little nuclear bomb that is so powerful. You got to get signed up with Lori. I'm telling you right now, she's a powerhouse. She's there for your team. She's going to help them leaders be the best for their teams. She's going to help you learn compassion and make sure that you're connecting to your team so they can be owners in their own career. Owners in their own career so they can excel at their career. They got to be their best. Lori's the one that's going to help you get there. Let's go to work, Lori. Let's do this. Let's serve people. Let's spend time in this space. I love it. It was great having you today. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jim. I love being with you, and I appreciate you a lot.